WWE is once again counter-programming All Elite Wrestling, this time with plans for NXT Heatwave the very same day as AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door pay-per-view in August. TNA Wrestling President Carlos Silva says TNA is in a 60 to 90-day window to get a brand new media rights deal which will allow them to go live 52 weeks a year. Carlos Silva has also explained the rationale behind firing Gail Kim after being with TNA for close to 2 decades. He also believes TNA Wrestling can be the number 2 promotion in the world for professional wrestling. Jelly Roll reportedly is set to wrestle at SummerSlam this year. We got all of the details on that. Jay White's current injury reportedly is worse than initially believed. MJF reveals who he'll cash in on if he wins the AEW Casino Gauntlet match at AEW All in Texas. More details on Shayna Baszler returning to WWE as a producer in WWE NXT. Goldbergs beats on his retirement match against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. Vince McMahon files a trademark on a 14th and I image. Mercedes Moné looks back on Sasha Banks, and WWE names Maybelline as the first ever official cosmetic partner of the company. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with more counter-programming from WWE towards All Elite Wrestling's biggest events of the year. This time, Forbidden Door at the O2 in London, England. WWE seemingly isn't slowing down when it comes to challenging AEW head-on, and the next battleground is already being mapped out. According to WrestleVotes Radio on WrestleBinge, WWE is planning to run NXT Heatwave on the same day as AEW's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, that being Sunday, August 24th. The event is reportedly expected to take place in South Carolina, with the Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium being considered as a potential venue. What makes this especially noteworthy is that the report states the decision to go head-to-head with AEW was made by TKO executive themselves. This follows a recent trend as AEW's All-In Weekend is already packed with WWE content, including Saturday night's main events, NXT's Great American Bash, and Evolution, all stacking the weekend against AEW. If the move proceeds as planned, this would mark yet another calculated counter-programming effort in WWE's post-merger strategy, with NXT once again being used to directly challenge AEW's fanbase and big show momentum. WWE and TKO clearly aren't just playing defense, they're swinging straight at AEW's biggest nights without blinking. With NXT Heatwave now lined up to drop on the same night as Forbidden Door, this war is going from subtle jabs to full-on body blows. Now, of course, Forbidden Door is set to take place in London, England, so whether or not they'd be going head-to-head at the same time, considering you would think it would have a different start time taking place in the UK versus in the United States, we'll have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know your reaction in the comments section below. Now, TNA Wrestling President Carlos Silva has spoken extensively when it comes to a brand new media rights deal for TNA Wrestling. TNA Wrestling has aired its weekly TNA Impact show on Access since 2019, but has consistently searched for a bigger platform. The promotion has utilized TNA Plus and YouTube to help expand the reach of the program. Speaking to Errol Hawani on the Errol Hawani Show, TNA President Carlos Silva gave an update on TNA's search for a brand new media rights deal. Here's what he had to say.
Along with our partners at Access and you know, Len and Andy Schoen, who runs Access TV, we want to find a bigger platform.
Okay, so are you actively?
TNA.
I know you have CAA representing.
We got CAA helping us. We're actively in the middle.
Okay.
You know, if I could get a few things done, I'd love to tell you about
are you close?
Those deals. And we're close. I mean, we've been working on it. We've been working on it since the beginning of the year, really since I joined. And it really has accelerated over the last 60 days. And so so we're working through it. But yeah, I'm excited.
How close do you think you are to announcing?
You know, I think we could be in a 60 or 90-day window to get something done. I mean,
amazing.
It's as you know, the media landscape is changing every single day.
Yeah.
And literally week to week, things are changing. I mean, we just saw some other networks that are going to get sold again, you know, this week that are changing hands. So you never know, but it's never done till the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. But yeah, we're working hard at it.
Would that come into play in 25 or 26?
It would come into play at the end of 25.
Okay, and would it possibly mean live 52 weeks, this new deal?
We've been asked by many partners that they'd like it to be live 52 weeks a year. And so we're talking through how we would do that. Maybe it wouldn't go live in January straight away, 52 weeks, but we would certainly lean into that to try and make it happen. Yeah.
Still Thursdays?
Could be up for grabs.
Okay.
You know,
Are
you'd
you
have
married?
to look at you'd have to look at the crowded,
Sure.
you know,
You don't
the
want to go
crowded
on Mondays
You
or
don't want
Fridays.
to go collisions, and you don't want to start playing that game. And
Thursday seems like a good day for
but
you
yeah,
guys.
Thursday's worked out well so far. Yeah.
And as far as pay-per-view is concerned, do you still want to stay in the pay-per-view business? Some people are moving away from it, right? So if you do a deal with some network, are you now, like the Peacock deal, for example, where the pay-per-views are now kind of a part of the deal? What do you think? You're smiling, so I don't know. I'm trying to read what the smile is.
I mean, you should be sitting with me in the meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, those are the questions that get asked every time. How do we take your live Impact shows 52 weeks a year? How do we take your 4 pay-per-views, Slammiversary being one of them? How do we take the 8 PLEs that we do that are currently on TNA Plus? Many of the folks that we're talking to also have platforms, and they have either USA platforms, in some cases worldwide platforms. They obviously want to suck those kinds of assets into their platform, and we're open to it.
Now, back in March, TNA Wrestling made the decision to fire Gail Kim, who had been in talent relations and with the company in some capacity since 2011. Speaking to Errol Hawani in the same interview, TNA President Carlos Silva explained the decision to part ways with Kim, having some very interesting comments on why he came to that decision.
The regime comes in, there's always going to be some change. I did want to ask about one that made some headlines, Gail Kim leaving TNA. What could you tell us about her departure? Because I think she was there for quite a while, 17 or so years, and it made big news. What was the reasoning behind her departure?
Yeah, so Gail, I mean, Hall of Famer, TNA Hall of Famer, been there for years. I think when you come into an organization, you have to look at what's working and what's not working. And sometimes you have to make changes because you got to move forward to continue the growth. And so I had to make a couple of hard decisions, not just with Gail, but with a few other staff to try and maybe reinvigorate, to your point, sort of reinvigorate what I think was already going well. But at least from what I've learned in my career over the last 25 years, when things are going a little bit well, that's not the time to sit and be like happy, because everyone is chomping to try and get you. And so we kind of got a little more aggressive in making some changes that we thought we needed to make to sort of reinvigorate the locker room, maybe reinvigorate the knockouts division that I think we've done. Elevate a few people that needed to be elevated and given some, more responsibility. And that was one of the changes we made. We made a few others in the front office as well. And look, so far everyone's responded well, and we have a great team and some great camaraderie going right now.
So, like the reports online were that the locker room was upset over this. Are you saying otherwise, or?
I think. In knowing a little bit about wrestling and knowing a little bit about working with athletes throughout my career, there are always going to be people that are upset. I mean, Gail had been there a long time. Of course, it wasn't an easy decision to make. It was the most difficult decision I had to make so far in running TNA. But I think what's important is what you do after that, and how you bring people together, and how we bring the locker room together, and how we share what's going on with our talent and help them to feel like they're part of the business. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that over the last 3-4 months. And so far, the feedback I've been getting is people like the way things feel now. They like the energy. I'm a big energy guy. I'm a big positive attitude person, and I think it makes a difference. And so we're trying to inject that into the organization.
Before the formation of All Elite Wrestling in 2019, TNA Wrestling was the number 2 promotion in the United States. Starting shortly after WCW was purchased by WWE, TNA established itself as an alternative in the early years and grew to the point of landing a deal with Spike TV and going head-to-head with WWE. TNA is now working with WWE in a multi-year partnership, which has seen TNA grow in terms of attendance, social numbers, and perception throughout 2025. In the same interview, TNA President Carlos Silva was asked if he believes TNA could be number 2 again. Sure, he replied. Asked if that was his goal, Silva stated, quote, "It's always a goal to get better. The motivation is to get better every day and land where we are and be TNA. We're one of the major leagues. We've got a great partner in WWE, and I think we keep getting bigger every 3 months. In the last 6 months, we've gotten bigger every 30 days. I'm really big on what do you deliver in 30, 60, and 90 days. It's how you set your short-term goals. You can't just be thinking 3 years out. You have to think about that, but you have to really grind it out every single day. There is no one thing that makes you win. It's a little of everything. I want TNA to continue to be big and strong, and if I come on your show in 6 months and you want to tell me with a number 2 promotion, I'm going to say, yeah, I think you're right. Now, when it comes to just part of the landscape of professional wrestling, he did have some interesting comments just about where TNA fits right now in the world of professional wrestling.
And I'm happy that you brought the WWE relationship up, because I would agree. I mean, the spotlight that they put on TNA, mentioning the TNA brand, the title, having one of their guys become TNA champion, Trick Williams, is huge for the company. I asked Matt Hardy about the relationship. And, I appreciated his candor. I said, why do you think this is happening? And he said, quite frankly, it's because they want to try to, put down AEW. And so it's to their benefit, WWE's benefit, to be in business with you. Do you agree with his assessment? And it's benefiting you, but do you agree with why this is happening?
Look, I think that, and this kind of goes back to even the early days when we were in MMA. There's a major league of wrestling. And we know who the players are. Obviously, WWE with NXT are the NFL of the space. AEW has done a great job over the last 6-8 years building up. They've gotten a great distribution deal. But TNA is part of the major leagues too. And so, look, we've been in partnership with AEW well before I showed up as well. And now we're partners with WWE. If they really want to do it against AEW, not really how I see it. I just think that we've built such a great partnership together that I think they see the value in not only building up stars like a Joe Hendry that came up through TNA, but also letting the Hardys and Nick and others, find another place to continue to celebrate their greatness. And they have now also crossed back over into WWE and NXT as well over these last couple of months. So I think that combination is why we're all working so well together.
Were you a part of doing that deal, or was that before you got there?
So the deal was really constructed before I showed up. And then as I showed up, I really helped to get it over the line, to get it signed and really get it going.
Was that with Nick Khan or with someone else?
That was with
Paul
Nick.
Levesque?
Yeah.
And how would you describe the relationship now, a few months in?
I think the relationship over the last 60, 90 days is just grown. I knew Nick a little bit going back to his CAA days. He actually helped me with the first PFL deal with ESPN before I left.
Right, when he was working in the rights business.
Yeah, so I knew Nick well then. He's been great. Paul has been very supportive at all levels, and you saw all the things that Paul said about Joe at WrestleMania, which was, great and very supportive and really you could see his thinking about growing this brand in Joe Hendry. So that's been great. And then Shawn Michaels and Johnny down at NXT have been great on the creative side. And, we've been doing a lot with them and they're super supportive too. So far so good. I don't really have any complaints about how it's been going.
Are you ever worried that some of your guys would say like, oh, it's quite nice over here, and then like if I play for the Knicks, I'm not really having a cup of coffee with the Lakers, you know what I mean? So is there ever a concern that they'll see something on that side of the fence when if there wasn't a relationship, they wouldn't see it and thus you might lose them?
Of course. Yeah, but I think you have to take the goods with that and understand how it helps to continue to build TNA. I mean, as I've been doing this in and around the sports and entertainment business for a long time, I've always created strong partnerships that will help you. I've never really been I don't lead by trying to attack or create divisive ways to get there. I think if you partner with people, you can continue to grow and all boats will rise to the tide. In our case, we are the smaller boat. It's okay to say it. And so we do rise. And being, the other night I was telling my team, if you didn't see it, but Joe led the show with Trick on CW 2 weekends ago, and they put out that 750,000 people watched on CW. It was a great number, and it's a proud moment for us too, because our TNA talent led the opening of that show and helps those numbers. So I think it's good for everybody. So no, it's been great so far.
Jelly Roll could be set to wrestle a match for WWE. Yes, Jelly Roll is scheduled to make his return to WWE on Friday's episode of SmackDown from Nashville, Tennessee, and plans reportedly are in place for the singer/songwriter. Jelly Roll has been training to wrestle, and the 40-year-old will make his in-ring debut at SummerSlam, Mike Johnson of PW Insider has reported. Roll's return to SmackDown on July 11th will see him be aligned with a top babyface ahead of SummerSlam, which will lead into the match at WWE's biggest event of the summer. It emerged in recent weeks that Jelly Roll would be involved in some capacity at SummerSlam following a short program. Of course, SummerSlam is scheduled for MetLife Stadium on Saturday, August 2nd and Sunday, August 3rd. Jelly Roll appeared at 2024's SummerSlam after singing God Bless America. Mr. Roll later got physical on the show and chokeslammed Austin Theory. Officially announced for SummerSlam is John Cena vs. Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship, while Jade Cargill will challenge for the WWE Women's Championship at the event. Music stars to appear on WWE television in recent years include Bad Bunny, who has wrestled 3 matches for the company, and Travis Scott, who helped John Cena defeat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Going back to AEW and an update on Switchblade Jay White. Jay White has been out of action since early April with a broken hand, but it seems Switchblade's injury was worse than initially believed. White was written off All Elite Wrestling Television during a backstage attack by the Death Riders, with a potential heel turn for White scrapped as a result of the injury. Recent reports stated that White's Bang Bang Gang stablemate Juice Robinson was set to return from injury imminently, but White is still on the sidelines. A follow-up report from Fightful Select suggests that White was more banged up than initially realized, and AEW are going to take their time in getting White back on the road. A former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and Bullet Club leader, there is a hope that White will be given a strong, sustained push upon his eventual return, with AEW President Tony Khan reportedly being a big fan of Jay White. Since joining AEW full-time in early 2023, White has had a stop-start run due to several injuries, but has had one reign with the AEW World Trios Championships alongside Bullet Club Gold teammates, the Guns. MJF has revealed who he'll cash in on at AEW All In Texas. Now, MJF is set to compete in the Casino Gauntlet at AEW All In, earning the number 2 spot in the match. MJF could end up the match before the number 3 competitor even enters if he's able to pin or submit Mark Briscoe, who earned the number 1 spot. Should MJF win the Casino Gauntlet, he will gain a shot at the AEW World Championship. In 2024, winning the Casino Gauntlet at AEW All In meant getting a shot at the AEW World title whenever you wanted via a cash-in method. MJF says he will immediately be cashing in if Jon Moxley is successful against Hangman Page at AEW All In. He said, quote, "If Dictator John wins, I'm cashing in on him. I have nothing to prove with that guy. I already beat that schmuck at Full Gear in New Jersey. If Hangman wins, bit of a different story. I'm not going to get into it now, but I have a lot of plans and a lot of plan B's, C's, D's, and E's for whatever is going to occur at the end of the night. The one thing I can assure you is, no matter what, I'm going to win that Casino Gauntlet," MJF stated on the Ringer's Masked Man show. Of course, Moxley will defend the AEW World Championship against Hangman Page in a Texas death match at AEW All In on July 12th. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to Shayna Baszler. Now, an update has emerged on Shayna Baszler's status with WWE. Baszler was released by WWE on May 2nd, along with a number of other wrestlers, including Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Cora Jade, and Gigi Dolan. The former NXT Women's Champion is already back involved with WWE, though, with reports noting that Baszler was a producer for the WWE NXT match of Kalani Jordan vs. Lainey Reed, along with Oni Lorcan. It was noted that Baszler may be working behind the scenes as a producer on somewhat of a trial basis to see if she would be a good fit for the role. Fightful Select has confirmed that Baszler has been working behind the scenes, with it being noted that WWE is seeing how things go in that role for her. Dave Meltzer has reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that Baszler has been a producer on other matches at recent NXT TV tapings, as she is still tied to a 90-day non-compete clause. Quote, "She has been at NXT taping, she has agented other matches, but this is the first one to come out. But it's not like she has taken a job as an agent, she is doing it since she's around and they've asked her," Meltzer said. Now, prior to her release, Shaina has been part of WWE since 2017. She is a 2-time NXT Women's Champion and a 3-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Goldberg. He'll be competing in his retirement match at Saturday night's main event, and he's spoken about Gunther being his final opponent. At WWE Saturday night's main event, Goldberg will wrestle his final match as he challenges WWE World Heavyweight Champion Gunther at the event in Atlanta, Georgia. For Goldberg, however, it could have happened with anybody. While speaking to 11 Alive in a new interview, Goldberg spoke about Gunther being his final opponent, with Goldberg noting it could have been anyone. Quote, "Well, as I said the other night on the show, I was vying for my retirement match, and he just so happened to put himself in that spot. It could have happened to anybody that opened their mouth negatively about me and my family when we were there back for the pay-per-view, so I don't know whether it was planned by him, I don't know. All I can say is he willingly stepped right into that spot, and I willingly accepted him as my final opponent. I just want to put my fist through his face. I just want to make sure that this younger generation, and he's representing that younger generation, respects us old guys and doesn't. And they don't, and they must understand that we must command that respect forever, because you never know what position they're in or condition they're in, or you never know if they're still willing to go, and I'm still willing to go. So you better watch your mouth, and you, younger generation man, look up to your elders, respect them, because you never know what could happen." Now, an interesting take on this is Bully Ray has explained why he's excited for Goldberg versus Gunther, and on a recent episode of Busted Open Radio, he offered some insight into how he produced the match himself. He said, quote, "I would definitely do a greatest hits of Bill Goldberg," Bully said. "I would put him in there for an amount of time that he's comfortable with. Definitely don't overstay the welcome. Do the things that he knows he can do well." The host then stated he'd asked Goldberg how long he was confident he'd be able to work in the ring without getting winded, and Bully would build the match around that time frame. Unlike some of Goldberg's other matches since his WWE return, Bully doesn't believe they need to limit the bout to 3 minutes or less. As long as Gunther plays to Goldberg's strengths and makes a genuine attempt at putting together an entertaining match, Bully is confident they'll pull it off. He said, quote, "They're giving him the best opportunity to have a good or great match because Gunther is in there," Bully continued. Now, interestingly, Tommy Dreamer says this is a reason why Goldberg should win at Saturday night's main event. He's gone against the grain and tipped Goldberg to defeat Gunther at Saturday night's main event. Of course, most have predicted Gunther to retain his World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday night, which could be Goldberg's last ever match in pro wrestling. If he does, WWE going up against AEW programming that night, Dreamer believes that the promotion can garner more eyeballs if the veteran star defeats his Austrian opponent. He said, quote, "I personally think Goldberg winning the title, and then we're going to hear from Bill Goldberg on Monday night, is a better hook," Dreamer said on Busted Open. If it was anyone but Goldberg, I would say yes, but he thinks that maybe it should be Goldberg winning the bout and then coming out on Raw on Monday. An update on Vince McMahon's new company. Vince McMahon has filed a new trademark on an image for his private investment firm, 14th and I. The image can be seen on the screen right now. The trademark is registered under Private Equity Fund Investment Services, Financial Services, namely management of private equity funds, Private Equity Fund Investment Services, and Financial Portfolio Management, and Entertainment Services, namely production and development of scripted television and digital programming. On August 23rd, 2024, the marks of 14th and I and 14th and I were filed as trademarks to cover private equity fund investment and entertainment production. The name appears to be a reference to the headquarters of Capital Wrestling Corporation, the company headed by McMahon's father, Vincent J. McMahon. The headquarters was located on the corner of 14th and I Street in Washington, D.C. And Mercedes Moné, she's reflected on her time as Sasha Banks. Coming up on July 12th for All Elite Wrestling is their annual stadium show, All In. It's taking place at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. One of the matches on the marquee is the AEW Women's World Championship match that will see timeless Toni Storm defending against Mercedes Moné. As Moné is several years removed from rebranding under her new alias, she has looked back on Sasha Banks. Mercedes said the following to CBS Sports, quote, "She wanted it all, but she never got to hold it all. Mercedes Moné, the CEO, is everything the legit boss wanted to be. She controls her life, narrative, and intellectual property." And finally, WWE has announced their first ever official cosmetic partner. WWE and Maybelline have announced a new partnership ahead of WWE Evolution. WWE announced that Maybelline is the first ever official cosmetic partner of WWE. Maybelline will be a presenting sponsor at WWE Evolution on Sunday, July 13th. WWE said the following, quote, "WWE and Maybelline New York, the #1 cosmetic brand in the world, announced today a new partnership in which the beauty brand will become the first ever official cosmetics partner of WWE. The new agreement commences with Maybelline serving as the presenting partner of Evolution, the all-women's premium live event on Sunday, July 13th at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. WWE is excited to collaborate with Maybelline, a partner that not only leads the beauty industry but also shares our vision for highlighting amazing individuals across the roster, said Britt Santipal, Senior Vice President of Partnership Marketing, TKO. Maybelline New York is proud to partner with WWE and have the opportunity to put our products to the ultimate test, said Amy Wang, President of Maybelline New York. As the presenting sponsor of Evolution, we're not just showing up in the ring, we're supporting a global community that inspires confidence and self-expression both in and out of the spotlight. In addition to the presenting partner designation at Evolution, Maybelline will receive center match ring branding, a custom vignette, and social media integrations. The partnership and activation strategy were developed in collaboration with Beauty Collab, L'Oreal's media agency of record. Maybelline continues to lead the way by moving at the speed of culture, connecting beauty with entertainment in bold, inclusive, and unexpected ways, said Delphine Harnouk, CEO of Beauty Collab. At Beauty Collab, we're proud to have helped shape this milestone partnership with WWE, which reflects the kind of innovative thinking that keeps the brand ahead of the curve. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.